Hello everyone and welcome to Undertale Last Corridor part. I love people attacking me while I'm getting ready to move. Like, thank you. You in particular, I deeply appreciate. Anyway, today I've brought a conversation subject because I feel like that'd make this way more interesting. And the subject I've chosen is time travel. Now, I was thinking to myself, what exactly would I do if I just suddenly went back in time, like a bunch of years, right? It'd be pretty sudden, difficult to prepare for. So what would I do? Now, first I need to decide how many years, whatever. You could go back 10 years, you could go to like you're a baby or some other thing. Now, going back to when you're a baby, that's pretty unfortunate. Like, how the heck will you pretend to be an infant? Don't get me wrong, I'd love for someone to take care of me like I'm an infant. But probably not the most fun thing to go through. So then I thought, okay, what's the next best thing? Well, what if you do it like early on in your life, like maybe kindergarten or like 8 years old, right? Do it fairly early on, and then what would you reasonably do? So I personally thought to myself, okay, what do I do if I go back to when I was really young, like maybe kindergarten or 8? And for this, I'll just say I'll go back to when I was about 8. Now, for education, that's a fun thing because, as you all might imagine, that gives you a huge head start over people your age. You'd have way more knowledge than all the other children. So, through that, you could probably just go and find a way to skip a lot of school. If you really wanted a degree, you could probably like any percent your degree, especially if you already have a degree like that. Could you imagine if someone with a master's suddenly just goes back to being like a first grader and then just quickly any percents their master's again? Or would this be a thing where they realize that a master's is the worst mistake they ever made and don't pursue it? Probably depends on the person. So anyway, yeah, so schooling could be rapidly accelerated, right? And if you really still wanted to go through schooling, you could, but I mean, if you've already gone through, it's kind of a waste of time. And for those of you who are still going through schooling, well, you could at least skip to where you are much sooner. You'd also have the perk of being called like a genius and a prodigy when you're just a time traveler. Easy. Now, one thing, certain events that I'd be very excited for. One of them would probably be the creation of YouTube. Creation of YouTube and getting onto it fairly early on. That would be one thing that I would want to just hurry to, right? And quickly jump on, become like one of the oldest content creators. I know that there were some difficulties of early monetization via the channel networks or whatever, and I know certain ones were like exploiting content creators. But overall, I feel like it could be a decent venture. And then from there, I would need a way to get money. Now, unfortunately, memorizing the lottery is, well, a great way to become rich. How many of you have memorized lottery numbers for a specific day, time, and all that? Like, why would you memorize it if you unless you're like preparing to time travel? Now, Bitcoin, on the other hand, would be something way easier. Through Bitcoin, right? I mean, everyone knows that it jumps up, so even if you don't know even a little about it, all you would need to know is that keep an eye out for Bitcoin the second it exists, and you can buy some to just pour money into it. Like, not too much, because you don't want to change history too much, but if you buy enough of it, then you're kinda set. quickly pick up some of that Bitcoin and you'll be set for life for money, even if you don't know of any other reliable ways to rapidly acquire money. So once you're set for life via your time travel, then what do you do? Because you can have immense wealth, and if you did like early content creation, then you could also have a fair amount of fame. Then once you have immense wealth, you can also just buy further fame. Like, then of course you have, do you want to change history in any ways? That could have all sorts of repercussions, but with enough money, you can change a lot of things. I'm not really sure if I have anything that I would go, I really would want to alter the course of history for, because there'll be repercussions. I'd have to spend all this energy, and then with my luck, it would happen anyway, just slightly differently. So I'd probably just focus on making my life very high quality. Let's see. And then I could also warn everyone about Undertale Last Corridor. Look, I know the game looks promising now, but it's going to have massive hiatuses. Oh shoot, I just realized I'd be able to know the exact indie games that would blow up, right? And then I could be those Kickstarter backers that would do the big investments. And you want to know the consequence of that? Because of the fact that I would take the place of those Kickstarter. Also, I can't zoom in for some reason. Since I would take the place of those big Kickstarter backers, the consequence would be that um, those things in games, like say Hollow Knight, please don't have another life. Oh my gosh, I wasted so much stamina. I wasn't paying attention, and now they're going to just murder me. Okay, I'm going to go in the corner and try to regen. Okay, run back. Oh gosh, they're comboing me. Homicide, come on, where is it? Oh my gosh. Dang, I died. I was not paying attention at all. Where was I? Um, right. So, at that point, immense wealth, I'd have pretty much anything I could want, and then I could go to games like Hollow Knight and go, yeah, I want to be your biggest investor. Go to Undertale. If I did everything right, I could have just one OC go across a bunch of indie games. And I feel like people would be on to me if I just put my OC in every single one and then, hmm. So maybe in order to get around that, I also make or put my OC in a bunch of games that I know don't blow up just so I throw them off my trail. And since I'd be immensely wealthy, that'd be easy. But just I don't know, that sounds fun. Now, sure, a bunch of Kickstarter characters would become non-existent. For example, well, and I wouldn't take all the slots. I would just take one. But that could mean, for example, that Muffet would never exist in Undertale, or that So Sorry or Glide might not exist. One of them wouldn't. I don't know what I would do without Muffet. I think I would actually be sad if Muffet was gone. I'm not too concerned about So Sorry or Glide. But like Muffet's kind of cool. So hmm, maybe I would pay extra to convince Toby Fox to keep Muffet, just so Muffet would be there. And then for Hollow Knight, who are the Kickstarter bosses in Hollow Knight? I think they're the little dream guys, right? Dang, I don't know enough about Hollow Knight to know how I'd be altering the game. I'm sure it wouldn't be in a major way. Dash. Alright, I hate this character. Can you, like, get out of here? I'm trying to not focus on the gameplay while I speak, but you are attacking me. Like I'm going to be honest, barely paying any attention right now to the game. And you attacking me is making it very difficult for me to not pay any attention whatsoever. Okay, you know what? You want to play this game? You want to force me to pay attention? Fine. I'll just stand back here. I've had enough of you trying to forcefully draw. So fine, fine, I'll play by your terms. And then I'll go back to not paying attention. So where was I? Right. So that would be really fun, just altering games, knowing which games would blow up and playing them on a channel first. And then I'd have the perfect alibi because I could play other games that I know would fail on the channel. And it'd always be like, well, the game came out and I invested money in it, so why wouldn't I play it on the channel? So it's the perfect alibi. Now, there probably would be some people who would be a little suspicious that I'm actually a time traveler, but who would believe them? Only like conspiracy theorists. And I would make sure to make fun of the conspiracy theorists to try to discredit them, probably compare them to like flat earthers. I'd go, come on, I bet these people believe in flat earth. Just discredit the heck out of them. So again, if no one believes the people saying the truth, easy. From there, I don't know what I would do. I'd have like a big mansion since I'd have immense wealth. But like that's so basic. Immense wealth, mansion. But really, what else is there to mess with things? Then again, if I had immense wealth, I could run for political positions or fund people to run for political positions. Oh gosh, that has some fun implications. With immense wealth comes the power to just create politicians. Oh boy, could you imagine turning Bitcoin into just your army of politicians and then just creating the most absurd laws or whatever through them? That I don't know, that actually sounds like a very interesting thing. Also, I could run events. I just realized I could run events. Like I could fund speed running, right? Or I could just bring more attention to gaming in general. I don't think esports became a thing for a little while. With enough money, I could make esports blow up way sooner. And also, I'm pretty sure there are Kickstarter goals that like games like Undertale never reached. I wonder how Toby Fox would have done on Undertale if he had a bigger team. I imagine he could have finished sooner, but would have been higher quality. I mean, look at Deltarune. Though you could argue that Toby Fox learned from his experiences through Deltarune. Anyway, I've gone through and rambled about just kind of what I was thinking. What about all of you? What would you do if you suddenly time traveled to like when you were 6, 8, that time frame? No prep time, right? You don't get to prepare unless you have already prepared. So, because that's the big thing, right? You can't if you have lottery numbers memorized, great. Otherwise, I feel like Bitcoin's your best bet, but what are your strats? How do you optimize your time travel? And what nonsense do you do? Do you decide to buy politicians and alter the world? Do you just invest money into games? I can tell you, I invest way too much money into games. But with that, I hope you all enjoyed, and I'll see you all next time. Thanks for watching.